shut up, you listen to my monkey mouth. There's a companion when you got pun on the Kanoa route. Hopped in a portal and got in a fight, Elias knocked him out. Bow, Naruto fighting style. Bow, UFC he tapped out. Bow, we win, we get crowned. Monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.
Them Portal Boys be podcasting. This is Joshua.
And this is Elias.
And on this episode, we're going to be covering the season finale of Season 6, Episode 10. It's called National Mortpoon's Rickmas Mortcation. And this one's a mindfucker. That's good.
Great.
I mean, of course, I love that they hit us with an M. Night Shyamalan twist.
Yeah, I didn't
on the whole season. I told you it was giving me anxiety that he was being fucking nice. So I knew something.
You knew something was trippy about it. I didn't figure it was I figured it was just like another Rick. Like I didn't think of like how he was able to do like sentient, robots,
Yeah.
But I was figuring it was just like him and another Rick working. Like I don't know, like he plucked another Rick from a universe.
I figured he had just probably. I mean, I figured it was a robot.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard me even in the last podcast. So I was like, I don't know if it's a robot or what. But I figured if anything, he had actually just turned a corner with him going to therapy and stuff. Which I believe he was going to therapy before, because he said that he dipped out around the Knights of the Sun thing, which that was like last episode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which he had said like he was. He had tried, and I think it was like the Knights of the Sun thing. That was it. He was out.
Yeah, but so, the real Rick evidently had been going to therapy and stuff. Yeah. Because that was him before he cut out during the Knights of the Sun. So Rick has shown some actual, like, positive trajectory
he was
in the season to this point. But this is definitely a step back. But
yeah, he was definitely trying. I think that, like, the pull of the mystery just kind of got him.
Oh, well, I mean, let's be real. He's been chasing this nemesis for fucking forever, and now he's got his hands on some stuff that can actually get him there. Like, this is a whole new ballgame for him. But we've gotten a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's start off. So it's a Christmas episode, right? It's all snowy outside, and Robo Rick, before he's revealed to be Robo Rick, is basically playing Rick Santa.
Yeah, so he goes to
Rick Sanchez.
Yeah, Rick Sanchez, and it goes to different. He goes into one portal and then back with all of them from all over the universe.
Yeah, he steps into a portal and comes in with a Christmas bag full of gifts that were from all over the place, and he got Jerry an extra dimensional Miracle on 34th Street that had an extra 2 hours of them just talking about streets.
More Miracle.
He got both of the Beths framed pictures of him and her in a timeline where they weren't killed.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to say which one's which, or he doesn't even know.
He actually doesn't know.
Yeah, he's just a gift. Like
it's like, here's one for you because we don't know who's who. That's literally what he said. And then Summer got money because she's 17.
He's like, look at your Venmo. Oh, money.
How did you know? He's like, you're 17.
Yeah. And then last, but certainly not least, he presents.
He got Morty a lightsaber.
He says that I had to go to a galaxy far, far away, but he goes, it was way better than trying to get shipping and handling from a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, shipping would have killed me.
Yeah, shipping would have killed me. Yeah.
And Morty's so pumped, like, we can't turn it on in here. He's like, well, it's for dedicated Jedi zones only, like the garage. Go.
And so then he's like, I guess I can just swing it around. Like he was impressed by it, but he was like, man, I don't have nothing to cut. Actually,
he starts hitting this full of fruit ninja,
literal
fruit ninja.
He's like, here's a papaya, here's another papaya,
here's a mango,
and a mango. Yeah, he's like, literally throwing fruit at him, and then he just like haphazardly, like puts it in his pocket. I don't particularly know what happened, what made that happen. But he's literally just got it like, not like in. He doesn't have a holster for it yet, of course, but he literally just like has it like in his nightgown pocket, like it's halfway sticking out, I
don't necessarily recall him putting it in his pocket, but what inevitably winds up happening is that he winds up dropping it while it's on directly vertically.
Yeah, directly vertically.
So it's just like falling straight towards the center of the earth. And this is obviously a fucking problem. Right. Yeah. Obviously a problem. And so they start trying to get into the bunker and trying to catch it, and they go to the first like couple floors and they keep just barely missing it. And so they decide to
at one point they like actually release a creature from like its little pod.
Yeah, well, so the episode where the guy shits on Rick's toilet.
Yeah.
And that room full of people in sacks full of red fluid, where they're stuck in a state of they're stuck in their own little heaven, where he's giving them the chemical that connects the whatever they want part of the brain to the whatever they have part of their brain.
It's literally making the Sanchez wafers without the wafers.
Exactly, it's just putting you in a loop of that, I guess. Yeah. And so it falls and rips open someone's sack. It just keeps falling, and so they decide to go down to floor 15.
Yep.
And in floor 15, they have a fucking sushi shop. And Rick's like, hey, man, you still doing the eel roll type shit? Like, he's on a first-name basis with this dude. And, like, I guess he just makes sushi for Rick, because who the fuck is going to floor 15 of Rick's underground bunker under his... under his family's house, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's straight up, like, Rickville.
And he literally, like, pulls an eel out, like, hey, man, where you going? Like, I was about to...
I was about to do this. What's up?
And so, then they go... he keeps trying to go to 10. At the beginning, Rick convinces him to go to 15.
He's like, just, no, not 10.
Yeah, and then he hits 10, and then it reveals it's just a crusty-looking Rick.
Yeah, like unshowered, is growing a beard, hair's unkept, literally standing there in nothing but his boxers. Yeah. And he's like, you stupid fucking robot. You had one job.
And so that's it. Like Morty's heart is just broken because the only reason this thing was nice to him because it was a robot. And he's got to come to terms with that his grandpa was more fixated on something that he had a true heart-to-heart with him about. You know, wanting it to be him around. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's definitely a step in the wrong direction in their relationship.
I mean, he literally was, set to sacrifice everything, and he asked for his grandpa to just be his grandpa, and he couldn't even give him that.
No. Well, I mean, by the end of the episode, he does. But then he's like, all right, we're gonna hunt this motherfucker down, me and you. Yeah. What's up, bro?
Well, now this is right? Yeah.
This is like the worst thing in my life, and now you're a part of it because you asked. And so
it's like, don't be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, this is the worst thing, and now you're in on it, bro.
And so, so he's definitely hurt by it, and so, he just basically washes his hands of it for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean he's repulsed by it. He literally is like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Yeah, and he takes Robo Rick back to do Christmas, and Robo Rick's like, "Oh, I'm so happy I don't have to."
I don't have to be Rick anymore. I can just kind of be myself. I don't have
He's
to be
like, bullshit. Yeah. You need to go up there and keep convincing everybody to love you, which he does.
And he's like, Rick says, Morty says something hilarious because he's like, oh, I didn't know y'all guys were gonna come and watch a movie with us. And she's like, we're all about those streets, because they were literally doing a miracle on the 34th, miracle on 34th Street with 100 more streets.
That's so funny. And right as that's going down, the presidential Black Hawk lands on the front lawn. Morty's like, I'll send him off. I'll take care of this real quick. And the president proceeds to just shit on Morty and the Star Wars franchise.
Shit on the Star Wars franchise. Shit on his generation.
Shit on George Lucas, particularly. Said that if you start with a turd, you end with a turd.
Yeah,
like homie went on a tirade.
Scorch earth on everything Star Wars, and then he was pretending that he didn't know that it was what was the crystal and the star and the lightsaber.
I have no idea.
I can't remember either, but I know that the general.
I'm not a fucking nerd.
The captain or whatever standing outside of the helicopter knew what it was, and he called him a nerd.
Yeah.
And then Morty proceeds to break down and cry because he's yelling at him.
He's like, this is the worst Christmas ever.
He's like, and you attacked me with your 90s. What did he say? He said something. He called out the Gen X sensibility of not caring about anything or whatever. He basically just called out Generation X for just being a bunch of non-caring generation is just all about themselves.
I didn't even catch that one.
That was a great one.
So the government and Morty go to save the Earth from the lightsaber reacting with the Earth's core and blowing up the whole planet. And
the president promised to give him back the lightsaber because it's Christmas, and like told him that he would.
Yeah, we're not going to destroy it. We're going to save it and give it back to you. And Rick, the real Rick, comes busting in. And he's like, any of y'all touch my shit, you'll die. And that's not a threat. That's just how advanced my shit is. And of course, someone touches his shit and dies. And Rick goes, oh, I see someone decided to touch my told you so dispenser.
That was so great. That was almost, it's already happened once to him whenever he says, there's no afterlife, son. It just goes black. I just want to let you know now. And he's like,
you have a right to refuse that order.
And she's like, couldn't you have just made him go to sleep? That's a deterrent, not a, what is it? Not
anyone wants to get knocked out. No one wants to die.
That was so great. And so he just literally, I think he actually, did he just turn into dust or a pile of clothes? I can't remember. I think he just
the dude who touched Rick's shit? He turned into a pile of green crumbs.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, just a pile of green crumbs. Yeah, it was wild.
And so Rick winds up kind of shitting on their plan for them trying to use a drill to get down to the center of the Earth faster than the lightsaber
moving. And so one scientist is working on it, and he's like, okay, you should meet up with the lightsaber. Oh, I didn't calculate for movement.
Good luck getting a good scientist on Christmas type shit.
Yeah, and then he says, I'm the president of assholes or whatever.
Something to that effect. But so the president nuts up and decides to go ask Rick, who's literally just
with a yo-yo.
Standing off to the side with his thumb up his ass, playing with a yo-yo, waiting for them to come ask him for help. you can now build a basically an auger that's faster than a lightsaber. And he's like, no, I don't want to touch that. I'll get mediocrity on me. Something about getting your what is it?
I'll be
it was neuronormative germs all over me.
I can't even say that.
Neuronormative germs all over me.
Germs all over me.
And then he busts out his own lightsaber.
He was hiding the buck on that one. He's just like, here's the.
Morty's all pissed. Like, dude, you had a lightsaber this whole time?
He's like, oh, what is this? Like, that would have been such
it's like, yeah, what should I have done? Gotten you one as a gift? That seems like a great idea.
Yeah. And then so he installs an IA in it so that it can track down, and it doesn't just move in one direction.
Well, all the AI does is basically serve as a voice thing and as a gyroscope.
Yeah.
Keeps it upright on its own.
Yeah. And it becomes, I guess it technically becomes sentient because it starts pushing back. He's like,
well, it's an AI.
Yeah. So he's like, he's asking it, like he's telling it what to do. And he
drops it down the hole and he keeps saying, is everything going smooth, this and that?
Status report.
The fucking lightsaber loses it. And he's like, bro, all I do is stay straight. Let me do my job. You do yours, I'll do mine.
Yeah.
And Rick's like, I literally control you. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. How about I turn off my brain and let you do that then? Bye. The bye on the way out is so fucking silly.
And then it goes into... Is it France?
Italy.
Okay, it goes into Italy, and it literally just starts slicing people in half.
Bro, whenever it goes sideways and just decapitates 6 people that are sitting there at the diner, bro.
Yeah, it kills at least everybody on that street, and then so the president has to come to terms with that. It was the Saudis that did it. He says they did it. They did do it. He goes through three confirmations that are just him saying it.
That's so funny. Driving the point home, for sure. But so while this is happening, Rick makes the necessary improvements to the drill gun for it to be able to get to the center of the Earth and intercept the drill, or not the drill, from the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Which, whatever happens with the lightsaber that Rick was controlling?
I don't know. I guess it just went off into space, didn't it?
I don't recall. Last I remember is that it was chopping folks' heads off.
I think it just went off because they made it seem like that was fine.
It's an afterthought.
Yeah.
But so Rick winds up shitting on Morty. He's basically still super pissed about being called boring.
Mm-hmm.
And he dips off. He's like, fuck this, I'm out, type shit. And Morty and the president go and do the thing. They go and...
He essentially called, like, Rick... He called Morty out for, like, basically saying that, like, he was, he called him, like... He was trying his hardest to, like, forget about it, and he still wasn't good enough for Morty. So he's like, screw it. I'm just going to go back to what I was going to do, give you a...
Yeah, I'm a piece of shit to you. You won't even take my advice on whether or not you should take the sword. I'm nothing to you. Fuck it.
Yeah, he goes, I was like Matt LeBlanc to you, or...
One of my favorites is, and this is what happens when you let people in. They grow to disrespect you. They touch your shit. They break your stuff. They kill your family. I'm fucking out.
I mean, and he's done all that. Morty's killed his family.
Well, I mean, these are all instances. Morty's broke his shit. The feds killed Bird Person after Bird Person let Tammy in. You know what I'm saying? So it's like all these things are things that have happened.
Yeah, and so now he's so Morty basically picks the president to go with him into the core, and they're able to retrieve it. He tries to reach it, but of course it slips out of it. Hits his face shield.
Yeah, the president.
The hilt hits its face shield.
And so Morty winds up getting his lightsaber, and they go back topside, and everybody's pumped. And right as Morty's like, "Thank you all so much," the president just ganks the lightsaber, straight Empire turn. Like,
and then he starts going on a whole another diatribe about how he can restore order to the franchises, and he grew up with it, so he deserves it more. And then Morty is just so pissed off because he's like, you did it, now it's on again, so like he's
like, holy shit, you stole my lightsaber. This is my Christmas present. Fuck you, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so Morty, after having his lightsaber stolen right out from underneath his own house, he goes up into the and this whole time they keep cutting back to the family, and the robot is literally so blatantly telling them that he's a robot without having to say he's a robot, and they just miss it the whole time. And Morty walks up and's like, he's a fucking robot. And Jerry cuts his arm with the electric shimmer.
It was supposed to be very sentimental. Jerry was basically literally accepting Rick now. Was like accepting Rick into his family and wanted him to cut the ham. And so then he said, he goes, why don't you cut your own ham? And then Summer has a fit because she's like, hey, it's like Dad's like literally accepting you now.
Into his biological family. He's like not a biological organism at all.
Yeah.
And so Jerry cuts his hand, and it reveals that he's a robot. And the girls, the Beths, and they kill him. They literally bust his full apart. They put his head on top of the Christmas tree. And
straight gangster with it.
The president, while he's in the Oval Office, is playing with the lightsaber, and he accidentally throws it into the ceiling where it gets stuck in the ceiling.
Yeah, he's literally got kind of like the same kind of like it's a fruit bowl, but it's essentially that same little thing that blocks Luke's vision so that doesn't have to see. He just knows he's going to be so good. He doesn't have to look at it.
He just follows the Force.
Yeah.
And the president does not follow the Force well. It winds up falling straight down back to the center of the earth. And they wind up doing a presidential announcement where the president is blaming Morty for dropping the lightsaber and that they're going to have to go and deal with this again. I mean, for the first time. And then he accidentally reveals, like, while he's on camera, that he's floating in space.
Yeah, like the water just collects out of the glass and then turns into water bubbles. And he's like,
well, I guess the other side of that hat, I'm in space. And he just, like, swims off.
Yeah.
And
he's so pissed off. I just love that part where he's like, oh, the presidential chef was grocery shopping. He's like, do you know how to make an egg? Everybody knows how to make an egg. And then he slams the phone on him because he's just like, he can't even cook for himself anymore.
That was some funny shit. And then so they wind up. Morty and the family. Morty and the family wind up realizing that the president's dipped. They're gonna let the Earth explode, type shit. We're gonna have to go and save this lightsaber because they can't rely on Rick because Rick's fucking dipped off at this point,
he's gone.
having a fit, and so they reawaken Robot Rick, and Rick's like, "Will you just let me fucking die already? Jesus Christ!
Just turn me off." Oh wait, you can't because I'm not a robot.
That's right. But so I mean, he should have just said he was a robot, so it would nerf him. But either way,
I think it's not in his program. He's just not able to do it.
Yeah,
he's not
exactly.
capable of doing it.
Well, so Morty and Robo Rick, after saving the lightsaber, go and cut their way into the Oval Office, which is in fact floating in space right now.
Yeah.
And the president falls back into a Star Wars bad guy room full of robots, and
got,
the robots can't properly they can't properly release. It's it usually gets out after the third try.
Yeah.
Boop boop boop, and then finally the robots with the lightsaber arms get activated.
And then he keeps upping the ante, so it's lightsabers, regular lightsabers in their hands, lightsaber arms, and then he says, "I've always wanted to try the one with lightsaber eyes."
And of course, that just goes miserably because it tries to look down and cuts its own arms off and shit.
It tries to look at what was going on over here with all the other robots and swipes them all down with
it's doing bad.
Its lightsaber eyes, and then
it's doing bad.
It literally cuts its own arms and legs off and falls.
Well, it cuts its arms off. Morty comes in and cuts its legs out from under him. So. And the president's like, "All right, you got me. I'm sorry, et cetera, et cetera." And Morty decides to kill the president.
Yeah,
And
he's over his. Yeah.
Robo Rick tries to kill himself by leaping in the way, and he shoots a Gatling gun that shoots tiny fucking lightsabers, and they all stick in Rick, and he stands up, and they all slide down, and then they fall, and they all land.
Because he was kind of sad. He's like, "Oh no, this isn't hurting. They're just right through me.
I'm not going to die." And it's like, "Oh, but they're sliding now. I might die."
Yeah.
And then they fall out of him, and they land straight down, and all 5 of them go straight down and get pulled by gravity back towards Earth, which rips a hole in the bottom of the White House, creating a fucking vacuum to space. And Morty, as Rick is falling to space, just jumps into his arms trying to save him.
Yep.
And Rick just portals them right as they're falling to their certain death, right into the garage, along with the president, right, as you were saying. Mm-hmm. And Robo Rick dies, right there in Morty's arms.
You caught that one where he's like, "I'm spitting up oil."
Oh, coughing up oil, Morty.
Coughing up oil, Morty. That was so great.
Rick talks shit about how long he takes for him to die. Which this is the second time that Rick has fucked with somebody about taking too long to die. Yeah. Remember he fucked with Morty whenever he got bit by the snake?
Yeah.
He's like, "I can see the mountain, Rick." And Rick's like, "You're going to be fine." He's like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "I don't know. Just usually people who say they're dying don't take this long to die." I love that the president, on the low, really quickly, asks Rick for a new White House.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey,
is this not a good time to ask for a new White House?"
He's like, "Can you give me a new White House? And hey, Morty, can you call me an Uber?"
And so, at this point, at some point earlier in the eepisode, it showed Rick taking apart one of the killbots that Rick Prime had left.
Yeah.
And he got a little fuse out of it and was able to search through his computer, and it pulled up all these spots where Rick Prime is simultaneously.
It was like a nesting doll of bombs, though. He had one large container, and that blew up, and then he had another smaller container, like a video cassette, and that blew up, and then finally he's able to get to the chip, and nothing happens.
Yeah, it was great. Multiple layers of "you're not going to find me."
Yeah.
And at this point, Rick brings in Morty and shows him what he's been working on, and explains that season 7 is going to be all about them trying to hunt down his nemesis, and that it might not necessarily all be linear. They might be doing something completely random, and it might just be happening in the background. There's no telling, but that's a season. We're going to do a season recap next week. Yeah. What do you think your favorite part of the episode was, man?
I like the fact that he was hiding that he was a real Star Wars nerd. And, every little scene that was him kind of, trying to make excuses and, and then calling other people nerds. But he was literally the biggest Star Wars geek of all.
Yeah. The twist, right?
Yeah, the twist.
So, my favorite part was also a twist. And it was whenever they revealed that Rick was downstairs. motherfucker, I knew it. Like I told you, it literally gave me anxiety during whenever like during during the vat of sun juice episode. It was like, this ain't right. Something's not, like, the whole time. Even Morty's like, it's just been a rough road with you, man. It's like, yeah, it really has been, and so it's definitely wild.
That 22% was a lot. It was a lot.
I mean, considering that he's probably at like 2% usually, right? Like it sounds like not a whole lot going up 22%, but when it's an 11-fold increase on the niceness, it's super significant.
And so there was a great scene at the end that had to do with like him basically saying, like, you asked for this, like, you wanted in, now you're in, you know.
He's like, this is the worst part of my life, and now you're going to be a part of it because you asked for it.
It's essentially the same thing.
So brutal.
Where Morty didn't have a choice at the beginning because it was just like he wanted to, like, he was going to be brought into it because, and he didn't want to. And he's like, well, now it's you and me. He goes, you're mine. I have emotional and, like, physical blackmail that'll make you do whatever I want. But now it's like, you didn't want to, now you wanted to be a part of it. I was trying to keep you out of it, but tough. Now you're in it, and you're going to have to be exposed to everything that I was exposed. Did you see how he found him, though?
What do you mean how he found him?
How he analyzed finding...
Yeah, everyone's ass cheeks.
They were all different.
Yeah, that's funny shit, bro. Yeah. That's really good.
That was so good. I was trying to remember that. That was in the back recesses of my head.
There's so many on these episodes, so many subtle little things.
Oh, yeah.
I love how the back 30 seconds is just like with Mr. Poopy Butthole. I'm so broken. I'm pretty sure that's one of the creators just venting out their frustration about their fucking their divorce.
I don't know if you ever watched it all the way through, but there's Dan Harmon alone, or Dan Harmon with somebody, Dan Harmon in the bed by himself.
It's Dan Harmon then, yeah.
Or Dan Harmon on a couch, Dan Harmon in a bed, and then Dan Harmon
like with a dog.
With a dog, yeah, and then Dan Harmon with a girl now, and it's literally his evolution of, like, where he was, I guess.
Yeah, so I think that there's kind of an analog with that and the evolution of Mr. Poopy Butthole, like where he's like, man, wish I hadn't lost everybody by refusing to talk about what I really have going on. And now it's like, oh man, I'm just doing steroids and trying to escape this. Crash, oh, I'm so broken. You know, like
breaks his knee open like a crab leg. It also reminded me that it also kind of made me think that, like, Dan Harmon really was kind of trying to take the piss out of, like, what is it, that kind of, like, misogyny culture that's coming through, where it's just like, you don't focus on you, bro, focus on your gains, or Liver King, all those people that are, like, kind of, like, masking, like, they mask truth, or they mask their, like, emotions.
Bro, how crazy is it that Liver King was like, I do not do steroids at all, I'm 5'6", 800 pounds of fucking muscle, and it's like, bruh,
who needs something or other when you...
Why would you... So there's multiple levels to it, right? It's like, cool, you have this message. Like, because you realize that, like, his whole thing is just parlaying into selling concentrated liver pills, basically.
Yeah.
And he's been doing that for forever. And this whole, like, Liver King thing is a marketing ploy that he rolled millions of dollars into, bro, to make work. And it's worked. He's selling lots and lots of liver pills, but it's the only bone to pick that I have with it is that whenever you look like that, and you're acting like you're able to achieve that type of physique naturally, and there are other people who see that and believe that, and do everything exactly the way you said that they're supposed to, and they can't get to where you are, it really fucks those people up, where they're like, man, I just, like, must be deficient. I am just not as good as this other person. Like, why can I not get there? Well, it's because they're literally using illegal substances, like human growth hormones.
They're body modifying themselves.
Exactly. Well, and, like, bro, steroids are literally illegal. Like, you got to go and, like, get a drug dealer if you want steroids like that. And so, you know, there's just, like, levels to it, right? You got to have lots of money. I mean, like, I think it was something like a $10,000+ a month stack that he was on. And so you got to have, like, money, right, to get it in. You gotta have
knowledge of what a stack is. I don't know what a stack is.
It's just like all your different, like all your drugs
all the medicine you're taking.
Yeah, something to fucking give you testosterone, something to block the development of estrogen, something to keep this from happening there. There's so many things. It's literal science.
Yeah. And I know that at one point I heard that they were taking a breast cancer, like, kind of, to fight breast cancer. I forget what that's called. Like a chemotherapy.
You said... I heard at one point they're taking, and then you said chemotherapy. So
yeah, chemotherapy.
They're taking chemotherapy for what?
For some sort of like, I think it has a particular kind of a steroid in it or something.
Oh, they're trying to do it for gains. That's crazy. Yeah. But either way, that's my only real bone to pick. Is like, just don't be a liar. You know, if you're doing steroids, that's cool, bro. Like whatever. Like it's chill. Like, be like, hey, man, I got 90% of the way here, and, like, I wanted to just take it over the top so that I could be a social media influencer, and this is what I did to get there. And, like, that's chill. Like, no one, like, I don't think that that's worse for your brand than lying about it and then having it all blow up in your face later. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't understand why.
On top of it, it's bad. That's like 10% of what he's selling. He's selling a personality. That's what he's selling, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a personality.
If you can keep that personality going, you're gonna have some people who just aren't gonna go with you, but you're not gonna lose that much.
Either way, I'm not trying to have Portal Boys evolve into a conversation about Liver King. I'm really trying to just say that it's a dork move to lie about shit and it negatively affect other people's.
Definitely.
Like, he's trying to parlay it into, well, I'm doing all this for mental health. Well, it's like, bro, you're definitely negatively affecting the mental health of men who are trying to look like you who can't because they're not doing steroids and they were believing that they were just deficient because they couldn't get where you were. But that's, again, a really small demographic of the people who he's reaching out to. And I'm certain
that's the thing.
A ton of people got impressed upon positively by what he's had to say. And there's only like one out of every few hundred people who've ever been impressed upon by him who are actually fitting the bill for what I'm describing. And so, you know, in the utilitarian weights and scales of the matter, it's probably an overall beneficial thing. I just, you know,
the funny thing is that's the thing is like Poopy Butthole is literally living behind the mask of people like that because he masked all of his emotional feelings with getting gains, you know.
Yeah, well, my coach Jared, who's in shit shape, said the best way to run from it is to get under a 300-pound squat type shit. Gains. I'm so broke.
To not run away from it, but run under it.
I'm so broken. I
think that's what he says, right? To not run away from it, but run under it with a 3,000-pound squat.
I just know that he said I'm so broken, and that shit like broke my poor heart.
Yeah, poor Poopy Butthole. He gets shot.
But
beaten up.
Either way, man, we bullshitted enough about this. Everybody, we're gonna do one more. We're gonna do an entire season recap. And we're going to be up to date on this in like a year, maybe a year and a half.
But y'all are in it with us.
Maybe even longer.
You're in it with us.
Hopefully some of y'all,
plus episodes.
Hopefully some of y'all get some pussy between here and there. I'm so sick of you incel fuck boys. Y'all need to go quit shooting up schools. Go get some pussy. Be normal. Okay?
Be normal.
And then if you can't get, and tell you what, if you can't get pussy, fucking bro, take a $75 flight to Vegas and pay $100 to get your dick sucked, homie. Like, it's fine. You're like $300 or less away from like blowing your wad all over something. You ain't got to go and blow. You ain't got to go.
But you won't be trad and respectable lady.
Bruh, come on, get it in. Sex work is real work.
She won't be trad, man.
Don't devolve into a fedora wearing incel fuckboy because you were too prideful to go and pay for some pussy, bro. That's some real white knight dorky ass incel activity, bro, and it's unacceptable condition.
Unacceptable.
1,000,000 years dungeon. Know what I'm talking about? But either way, I'm finally got to get my last ceremonial shitting on the audience in. Matter of fact, fuck y'all one more time.
One more time.
Fuck this. Fuck all y'all.
Death pop.
Just getting nutsack on your forehead. But Portal Boy's been podcasting. Hope you guys honestly have a fantastic time between now and next season. We'll catch you guys in God knows how long.
Merry Christmas.
We're gonna
Happy
see
New Year.
happy everything holidays. It's an attack on Christmas. Fuck Saint Nick.
He's not Saint Nick. He's what did he tell him? I'm not Saint Nick. I'm the protector of something or other.
Is Saint Nick Islamic?
I don't know. I thought he was.
He's got a big old beard.
Yeah, he could be. Man, what a great episode.
Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth. Monkey mouth.